On this day in 1964, Harry Hood turned down the chance to sign for Celtic. When 20-year-old Harry Hood lined up for Clyde against Rangers at Ibrox on the 31st of October 1964, the part-timer had an impressive first half, giving Ronnie McKinnon the runaround and peppering the Rangers goal with shots. He would have been disappointed though after Billy Ritchie could only parry one fierce drive and he sent the rebound over the bar from 6 yards. After the teams went in level at the interval, the second half saw a complete turnaround and Clyde's only consolation was a late penalty that finished the scoring at 6-1 for Rangers, and Clyde trudged off beaten for the first time in 5 matches. Clyde had lost, but a very interested spectator was Celtic coach Sean Fallon, and he had seen enough to recommend Celtic follow up their interest in the young inside forward. Hood and Clyde manager John Prentice met with Jimmy McGrory for talks at Celtic Park on Monday the 2nd of November after the clubs quickly agreed on a £20,000 transfer fee. The player left without signing, but the Evening Times was confident that the deal would go through. Peter Hendry wrote in that day's edition, "At Celtic Park, Hood spoke for half an hour with manager Jimmy McGrory and then told me, 'I'll have to see my dad before I make any decision,' and he is on night shift. Then Hood went back to work. He is employed in Mr. Willie Dunn's business in Glasgow to make a phone call home. However, it could be 6 o'clock tonight before he can see his father and decide whether or not to join Celtic. The answer seems almost certain to be yes." Hendry's confident prediction turned out to be wrong. He reported on the 3rd of November 1964, "Celtic are almost certain to make another bid today to sign Harry Hood, the Clyde inside forward, who last night turned down the Parkhead club's terms." Hood's rejection of the Celtic offer came in a phone call to Mr. McGrory late last night after a family conference at which the terms offered to Hood earlier in the day were discussed. Hendry reported Celtic were still keen to sign the player and would make another offer that day. He wrote, "Hood told me today, unless Celtic come up with a vastly improved offer, I cannot consider moving from Shawfield to Celtic Park." Celtic did indeed make a new offer, and again Hood turned them down. Ger Henderson wrote in the Evening Times on the 4th of November 1964, "All transfer negotiations have ended, and today manager Jimmy McGrory completed the Hood serial story with these 4 terse words: 'The deal is off.'" McGrory added, "We are no longer interested in the player. We made him an offer on Monday and a revised and better offer yesterday, but he would not sign. We could not go on talking indefinitely, and as far as we are concerned, the matter is finished." It was a different world for footballers in 1964, and Henderson finished his report, "I understand that Hood, who is a stock clerk in the bottling factory of Joseph Dunn Limited, gave the Celtic offer careful thought and apparently decided that his wages at the factory and his weekly pay from Clyde were not worth swapping for a full-time player's job with Celtic." A few weeks later, Harry Hood signed for Sunderland in a £30,000 deal and in an early appearance scored the only goal in a win over Manchester United. He missed the whole of season 1965-66 with a hernia problem, and on his recovery was part of a group of players frozen out by new manager Ian McCall. After less than 2 years on Wearside, he found himself back at Clyde in October 1966, and it was March 1969, 4.5 years after turning his boyhood heroes down, before he finally arrived at Celtic Park. It turned out all right in the end.